A recent study done by FAU and FIU shows the housing market in Florida is significantly overvalued. However, some experts say the market is still good for buyers right now.
Yeah, in Miami, the market is up 7%. And listen to this, in Fort Lauderdale, it is double that to 14%. You know, this month is National Homeownership Month, and joining us this morning to bust a few home buyer myths is the president of Mortage Sales at One Stop Mortgage, and that being Christopher Molina. Chris, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So let's get to this myth busting because it kind of goes against conventional wisdom. So when interest rates are high and prices are still high, a lot of people say that's not a time to buy at all, but you say just the opposite.
Yeah, correct. And let me make this clear. Not all real estate is created equal. We are so lucky to live in South Florida. And if we just look at the inventory, you know, some markets, for example, some markets in California, they're actually down. But the reason why Fort Lauderdale is up 14%, Miami 7%, it's because if you look at inventory from a holistic perspective, it's down 225% from its 40-year average, and it's down over 500% from where we were in 2008, 2009. Why is that? It's really because of the Dodd-Frank Act in 2010, which made lending really safe, and it made it a lot harder for builders to build, because even builders had these subprime loans that were super easy to get, and they were building massive communities before the housing crash in 2008. As of 2010, the builders have to have the ability to repay as well.
So simplify. I think this is very confusing. So somebody, so for like me, I've had people offer me a ridiculous amount of money for my home. I would love to sell, but where am I going to go? Because now I got to pay a ridiculous amount for another home.
For rent, yeah.
Correct.
Or rent, correct.
So here's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of wealth being created for accidental landlords, people that are locked into that 2.5% rate that you should keep, by the way. You shouldn't sell.
Oh, I'm not selling.
But you could rent out your property, have some nice cash flow to pay your mortgage, and then go live somewhere else. And that's what the people that are buying right now are doing.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the plans that are out there for people who want to buy that are going to make it a little more affordable.
Correct. Yep. So one of the biggest is called Hometown Heroes, and that comes out July 1st to every Florida resident that's a first-time home buyer that works for a Florida-based company. And that's going to give you 5% of the mortgage amount toward down payment and closing costs. So for example, on a $400,000 loan amount, that's $20,000 toward down payment and closing costs.
It's just completely free?
It is not free, but you don't have to make any payments on it. It's a 0% interest rate on that money.
Oh, wow.
You have to pay it back when you sell or when you refinance, whenever that is. But if you think about it, on a $400,000 purchase price, after a year or two, at a 7% appreciation rate, you're going to have that equity.
So with this program, do you have to stay in the house?
You do have to stay in the house, but when you sell or refinance, you pay that money back. Yeah, so it's a way to get into the game, because what we're seeing right now with inflation is it's really hard just to save enough to have a down payment. So it comes in and it solves that gap right there to help people get into the game.
All right. Do you see prices going down anytime soon?
As an investor, I would actually like to see that, but here's the thing. If you look at the data, I just don't see it, because delinquency rates, so people that are not making the mortgage payment, are at an all-time low. They're down 654% from where we were.
So we're not going to see defaults and foreclosures, anything like that?
Nope. And if we did see that increase, we would see more inventory. But without that inventory, home prices are not going to go down. They're going to be stable.
Got it.
All right.
All right. Interesting
Good
information.
Stuff.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.